Vitiligo is an autoimmune disorder. Is what I have, and it manifests in milky white patches. So my autoimmune system is attacking my melanocytes, which are the pigment cells, by accident. They're viewing them as invaders in my body. So that produces these white patches. So I've had this since I was about 11 years old. I got diagnosed in 1999 when I had my first spot right around my eye. And back then there was not that much information. So, I went to the dermatologist, they gave me creams, they didn't work, so I just kind of stopped using them. And I was, pretty okay until my first school picture. I went to take my first school picture with my little spot, and I was okay. And then there was a boy who was making fun of me, and I just got super sensitive. It was the first time anyone had ever really called attention negatively to my skin. So, I ran in the bathroom, I started crying. And then my friends came in the bathroom and they were like, listen, he's a stinky boy and he doesn't know what he's talking about, and you're beautiful and we want you to take your picture. And I took my picture, and I used to always hate that picture because I knew I was crying. But like, as an adult, I look at that picture and I'm like, I was so strong. I was able to smile through something like that because that was devastating for me. So, I grew up with a lot of support from my friends and my family. So I was able to be this person who seemed very confident on the outside, but I was always very insecure about my skin. But as I got older, I kind of got to this place of acceptance where I'm like, okay, my spots have been changing, and they can't call them my spots, and they changed a lot. And, it was around my 30th birthday, and I'm like, my spots were changing, and I was okay. And I'm like, okay, I'm okay. And, it kind of inspired me. I actually had started working at BCIL, and I was like, maybe I can help others who have vitiligo too. And, I started going into Facebook groups and seeing what kind of support was out there. And I, got in contact with some great groups like Vit Friends and V Strong, the Houston Vitiligo Awareness Movement. Like, there's a bunch of groups nationally and internationally. So I, started my own kind of social awareness program. So, I started a website and social media groups where I share positive pictures and stories and videos, and I, encourage people, you're so much more than your skin. Yeah, you have vitiligo, but that's not all you are. Live your life, because, you have people who, they don't date, they don't want to have kids, they don't, want to embarrass their friends because they look different, because people are staring, because people are, what's that? And, it shouldn't be that way. People should be aware of what's going on. You shouldn't have to feel alienated just because you have vitiligo. So that's kind of my mission, is to raise as much awareness so people aren't, ostracized. Like, I can tell you a bunch of crazy stories of the things that people have said to me over the years.
Well, no, you shared a video that of buying some makeup a couple years ago.
Yeah.
A couple years ago this happened.
2017, I went to Sephora to get a new line of makeup that had just come out, and there was an older African-American woman. She came over to help me, even though, and I kind of got most upset because I told her I didn't need help. But in helping me, she gave me the wrong shade, and she insulted me when, she insisted on trying the makeup on my face, and she tried to cover my spots. And I'm like telling her, like, I don't cover.
Yeah, I remember seeing the video. You say, I don't need makeup on the bridge of my nose.
Yeah, like I don't cover it up. And I'm explaining to her why I don't cover it up. I'm showing her pictures of me, with it covered up at times, and she's telling me that I look better with it covered up. And then at the end of the conversation, she goes, oh yeah, what's it called again? Leprosy? And it's like, leprosy.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and my first thought was, what if I was somebody who wasn't as comfortable as I am in my skin? What if I was somebody, this is my first time buying makeup, and you're telling me I look so much better with my skin covered up? You're supposed to be a skincare professional, and I was so taken aback by the experience. Like, I kind of didn't really process it till I got back into the car. And then, shortly after, I think that's when I started putting Vitiligo together, because this is, that shouldn't happen to anybody.
So that's why, I mean, if you were just saying, and what we were talking about earlier off camera, is that people don't date, they don't marry, they don't have kids, and I guess that's why they're afraid of the embarrassment of going to the makeup store
Yeah.
or down to
Just
CVS.
dealing with people in general.
You were telling me the story about you're on the train or kids come up to you or whatever, and you know and the parents are like, "Oh my, don't ask her, don't ask her."
The parents always get really cringy. They're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're asking about this." And you know, with me, luckily I have a very disarming smile, so I'm always like, it's okay. I don't mind explaining it, and if it's a younger kid, I explain it as if my body is like a star system, and my autoimmune system is the galaxy of protectors, and sometimes they get confused and they destroy the wrong things, and that's why my skin is like that.
Right.
Or if they're older, I tell them the truth. It's vitiligo. My melanin is gone in these places. And then most of the time, the kids smile or they'll ask to touch, or, I have these awareness wristbands that say I support the lit 1%, because over 1% of the world's population has been diagnosed with vitiligo.
Really? 1% of the world's population.
And that's only the people that have been diagnosed. It has connections to being a genetic thing. So, like in my family, my father's side of the family has it a lot.
Oh, it is? Okay. It is, all right.
So it was, for me, I feel like it is hereditary, but in some cases, it's brought on by like stress or just for no reason at all. It just kind of shows up. But there's still a lot of information that needs to be uncovered about it, so.
So you founded this group.
Yep.
So before you did, why did you found it? Why did you, obviously you saw a need because people couldn't deal with it, didn't have the support you do or did?
Well, I feel like I represent a unique population, and I like to call it, there's a comedian that calls it being an elder millennial, where I grew up, in an age where there was no technology, then there was technology, and now we're here in the advancements of technology. So with me, I like to make the connection with that generation. So a lot of the things I do are very social media related or very group oriented. Like I have this event that I have called the Speakeasy, where I have a panel of at least one person who is living with vitiligo, a mental or social health specialist, and two other people that are either experts or people that can attest to whatever the topic is. So my first topic was how Michael Jackson shaped the way the world views vitiligo. Because most people, if they know anything about vitiligo, it's connected to Michael Jackson. And because Michael Jackson, the way he kind of dealt with his vitiligo very publicly, he was ashamed of it. He hated it. So a lot of people automatically see me and they would pity me, and I'm like, I don't need your pity, but because of this situation, that's what happened. And it's like, no shade to Michael Jackson. We understand there was a lot of trauma, there was a lot of other things going on, but that had a ripple effect for the rest of us living with it. So to have that open dialogue, it was a really great event. You had the audience, they were asking questions, they were very engaged, and everybody left there with a little bit more information than they came in with. So that's the goal of these.
So the goal is to spread the information and get it out there. Yeah. So do you think there's a connection? One quick question, I'll get to some contact information. Do you think there's a connection between it's a disease? I mean, the disease that you have and the work that you do at the Boston Center for Independent Living? Oh,
absolutely. And it's funny, in working at the Boston Center for Independent Living, I learned about, I knew about, but I learned more in depth about cultural competency and the deficit that is there when it comes to language especially. So in the vitiligo community, the word disease is a very sensitive topic. Where doctors are very medical, they call it a disease and say it's a disease, that's it. Then you have people like myself, I call it a disorder because I'm sorry, I don't want to refer to myself as disease.
Well, that's why I hesitated before I used the word. I don't know how you...
Right, and so that's something that I personally talk about a lot, where I feel like, you should identify, as long as it's an accurate description, I think that should be adequate. So, I remember I was in one of our chat rooms and I, used the word disability when talking about vitiligo, and everybody kind of freaked out. They acted like it was a bad word, viewing vitiligo as a disability. Like, no, I'm a lot of things, but I'm not disabled. And I'm just kind of like, I don't understand where that kind of comes from. Having a disability is nothing to be ashamed of.
No.
There are so many things that are considered a disability that people don't even know are a disability, but because of the way, it's been portrayed over these years as, you're crazy, you're broken, you're crippled, no one wants to call themselves that.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
like I asked my friend, I'm like, do you have asthma? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, do you know that asthma is a disability because you're unable to breathe, you're unable to run, walk as much as you want? He's like, no, I didn't know that. I said, so technically you have a disability. But you were just saying, he's like, I never really thought about that. And I'm like, well, nobody ever really thinks about it like that. And at the base of things, that's where all the change starts. Disabilities are normal. There's nothing to be ashamed of. And I think with vitiligo, it's kind of the same thing. If you normalize it, if you teach people about it, then it won't be this, oh my God, don't talk about it, don't look at it. It'll be, hey, I'm aware of what you're going through. Let me know how I can help you out.
I think
change the whole narrative.
There's a fear of the unknown, and so you spread the word, and then it's not the unknown anymore; it's the known. So I know you have a Facebook page.
Yes.
Give me some contact information, because there might be people out there that need to contact you or need to contact.
So our website is the best way to get in contact with me or anybody. We have a team, a collective, Archie B. Culture. She is in DC right now, and Sydney Head, he is in New Jersey. LittyLigo.org, so LITTYLIGO.org. You can email us at info@LittyLigo.org. Our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, everything is LittyLigo. And there's a contact form on the website as well.
Are you finding, as time goes on, the more time that you speak, that more and more people are contacting you and saying,
yeah, our biggest gathering is in the Facebook chat, the Facebook group. There are about 1,600 people in there right now. And what I do with the website is I have a resources page. So there are a bunch of social media sites that are good. There a link to the VitFriends support groups that are around the country and their affiliates. There's connections to the Houston Vitiligo Awareness Movement directly, our YouTube channel, and then just any type of connections we can make. We also have a page called We Are Art for people who make art that are that's inspired by vitiligo. And we also run some campaigns. We have a campaign called the Beautiful Both Ways campaign, where I have people who have vitiligo send in a picture of themselves with makeup and without makeup, and with a story or a message to encourage others who kind of feel prisoner to their skin and kind of feel like they have to wear makeup. This campaign, I wanted to show you, like, it should be a choice. Makeup is fun. It shouldn't, you shouldn't be a burden. So, but yeah, I like coming up with creative ways to support the community, and it seems to be really effective. So.
Great. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm sure there are a lot of other people that are glad you're here in terms of what you do at the Boston Center for Independent Living and just everything, because it helps people. Like I was saying, there's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
And you're helping to break some of those barriers down. There's a book, No Pity.
Yeah.
People with disabilities, whatever their disability is, whether you call it a disability or not, no pity.
No pity.
So my name